Okay, good evening, everybody. It is Tuesday, January 7th, 2025, the first ACT committee of the new year. It's 5:30, and my name is Brian Travis, the chair of the ACT committee. I'm here along with my colleagues, Brian McGinnis and Sheila Vaccaro. So we have just called the meeting to order. And our first agenda item tonight are announcements, and there are two announcements. We'll start with announcing the public hearing for the amendment to the Transportation Advisory Committee. So we have a committee in place. We needed to make a couple changes, which we discussed last month, and we will have that hearing, which is next week, which is scheduled for January 15th, 2025. That's the first announcement. Oh, and then actually the next agenda item number 2, are comments, suggestions, and petitions by residents in attendance regarding items not on the agenda. Do we have any comments and suggestions? Okay, seeing none, we will move to item number 3, reports. And we have the CISO quarterly.
Prepare for fun. So this quarterly report covers October through December, and it's taken from each of the monthly reports you guys see. I'm not going to go over our mission other than saying we are the backbone of the borough, I think. All of our projects have been completed. We're still working on refreshing the website, working with building and housing and public works, doing some updates there. Kind of slowed down. We got to those two very busy departments, but we're getting there. Unscheduled events, I do not like these. These are things that we don't plan on doing. Something goes wrong. We have two during this quarter, which is unusual for us. One was just real quickly on December 15th, about 2 in the morning, the police called us and said the cameras were not working in the building. That's a problem. They had loaded cells up that night. They had a lot of prisoners in the cells and they couldn't see the cells. So it was important. And after about 2 hours of working on it and finding out one of our domain controllers was bad, we were able to disable or pause one of them. We have two. And then everything came back up, and that allowed us to work on it on Monday morning and figure it out. And we did figure it out. And then when we were working on that, we found that one of our ILOs was bad. An ILO allows us to manage our host servers without being on the network. So they're very important. If you're really bored, you can see the did you knows. It tells you like what a domain controller is and what an ILO is. I don't want to bore you here, but if you want me to read it, I will. Any takers? No? Okay. But they're both very important. A domain controller, think of a street cop managing traffic. That's kind of what a domain controller does. So when they start having problems, you start having networking issues. And these are just things here that each month that are not projects and they're not help desk tickets. They're things that IT gets drawn into to help. And the yellow ones I'll highlight here. I mentioned this real quickly. We had to replace a locking mechanism on cell block 5. This is the officers use cards just like this to let the prisoners in and out of the cells, and one of those went bad. Homecoming, we set up the emergency operations center for the police department. So communications and patrol, they used a communications center outside of dispatch. So we set that up for them. We added another access point to the police holding cell area. And that was because they have equipment now where they can, it's handheld, where they can do fingerprints and a live scan of a prisoner while they're in the cell without having to take them to the computer. And that was having some connectivity issues. The access point fixed it. Before you're there, in November, there's just been a lot of shifting, moving around in the police department of personnel. So we were involved in moving digital screens around and office equipment, computer equipment. In December, actually a quiet month, we've been working with building and housing, working on their website. We've added like a land development section and short-term rental section. We've been working closely with them, hopefully making that even better. Help desk tickets, these are things that come in every day. We had, so up to this year, full year, 766 help desk tickets. It came into Jeff or I, and I always say, I put it up here, only about 70% of what is a help desk ticket ends up in the system. I have submitted to Sean 7 new cybersecurity policies. I'm trying to modernize this. I hope to get these out to staff soon. Everything from email confidentiality. If you send an email internally from one employee to the other, you should have confidence that that other employee is not forwarding it somewhere else that they don't expect it to go. Things of that nature. The use of personal email, bring your own device to work, things of this. So we should be getting those policies out to staff this month. They're attached to my monthly report if you guys want to read them. Exciting. Some cybersecurity activity for the year. So impersonation, phishing, scamming. He says the automated response of blocking active phishing. So 1,020 this year. 710 of incident response. This is employees or IT finding things that ran around that firewall. That's an impressive number. I think that's an engaged staff reporting phishing messages. If you are a regular reader of the Cybersecurity Friday newsletter, you will see who the all-stars are that week. These are my all-stars. Account takeover. This is someone trying to actually hack into one of our accounts. This is common. Doesn't mean anyone did it, but we saw it happening or trying to happen twice this year, and neither time was it successful. Security awareness training. This is critical. This is just as critical as the software and hardware solutions we have in place. The monthly phishing testing. Each month we do a monthly phishing test. We review those lessons learned. Classroom training twice a year. Of course, the newsletter and the cybersecurity daily videos. All of these, and the Cybersecurity Awareness Month, all of these are critical to an organization's security. And then, of course, Jeff and I meet each week, talk about cybersecurity, updating our plans. And it's a constant conversation. I'm sure I beat his ear to death with it, and ongoing training, being a member of the Barracuda Insiders Group, and taking training on our level to stay on top of this ever-changing world. One incident that I wanted to note here, which occurred on December 18th. I know a couple of you guys know about this, where we were targeted, or elected officials were targeted in a phishing attack. I think Brian McGinnis and I don't know if Brian Travis reported it, but a couple, maybe Bernie, but we were getting, like, literally, you can see in about an hour, 3,314 messages Jeff and I had to manually stop from landing in inboxes. I actually called Barracuda because we were having trouble stopping it, and working with their engineer, we were able to put a fix in. And that attack went on until 11:20 on December 21st. You guys weren't seeing it, but it was happening on the back end. It wasn't getting to you. So that was a complicated one that was really targeting elected officials with a targeted political message. This is what it was. It wasn't a ransomware or a malware, but it was this endless political message.
Bill, just while we're on that, because I came in thinking that if that didn't come up, I would ask a question about that. Were there any implications from a cybersecurity perspective, or was it just basically just stopping the email flow?
Yes, that's all it was. I actually consider it a denial of service type of message. There was no real physical threat to us. It was a legitimate political message. I mean, there was someone had a message they wanted delivered, but they were just delivering it at thousands upon thousands of times every, in a very short period of time. And the way when we do incident response and you see that means it landed in an inbox and we have to pull it out. So that's what was happening. You guys would see the messages coming in, and they've looked again, they'd be coming out. Working with Barracuda, I'm like, I can't keep doing this. First of all, it's taking all of our time, and I needed to stop landing in inboxes, and working with them, we were able to find a fix for that. So that's the kind of targeted message. If we're going to get hit, that's what I want, because it's not a cyber threat. It's not ransomware or something.
Has that happened before?
That's the first time it's happened at that level here that I can recall. We do get them, but nothing like that.
If it happened again, would we do something different?
I would, in that case, I would probably call Barracuda a little quicker, because they were able to, on their back end, make a fix for me to stop it. I waited about an hour and 10 minutes thinking what we were doing was going to eventually stop it. It just kept going. But they were excellent in their support. So my lesson learned is call them quicker when something like that happens. But I knew it wasn't a ransomware or a malware threat. I knew it was a nuisance. Back in November, I was invited to go to this leadership summit, and part of that summit was a essay contest, and they gave you a title. Luckily, I got the topic, my perfect topic I was given. They had like random topics, and mine was cybersecurity staff engagement, so I went into excitement mode, wrote a silly essay, and they gave me a little thing for it. So, but I was proud because it's our staff that does a really good job, and they respond in a very positive way. So that was kind of fun. And I keep pounding on it. It's all about the education. Cybersecurity Friday newsletter is not just for fun, is to educate and keep cybersecurity on everyone's mind every week. Same thing with Cybersecurity Daily. Each week there's a theme and a 3 to 5 minute episode about, the next week's all about social engineering. Very exciting. Make sure you subscribe. October, this is a quarterly report, remember, so I'm going back to October was Cybersecurity Awareness Month, where we had the whole month was a themed newsletter each Friday, messaging every day, Cybersecurity Daily episodes every day with the theme, and then we finished it up with an in-classroom experience for the staff. I believe the staff loved it. This is important for going into next year. I know AI and how organizations are going to be working with this over the next couple of years. It's going to be very important. So I took an AI leadership course, and because I knew I wanted to start implementing some of this. So I'm testing Microsoft Copilot now and how it integrates in what we do. It's actually exciting, a little scary. Some caution needs to be there. So we're going to be exploring this as a team. There's going to be a group of us exploring this as a team as far as what to use, what not to use, how to be transparent, and setting policy. That's why I took that course. Our 2024 budget performed as expected. There were no overages in it. My 2025 budget it's set. A couple of highlights here. We are doing now like 2 to 3 times a year of penetration testing on our network. That's incredibly, I think, rare for local government to be doing that. So I'm proud of that. And that is where you audit your network outside source, and you get scored, and you can kind of see where you're doing well and where you need to make improvements. We've already done it once, and we did really well, but we need to do it regularly because the cybersecurity landscape is constantly changing, and you have to stay on top. You just can't think you're doing a good job one day. We're going to talk about this in a little bit in this meeting. The new Agenda Meeting Center, I was able to get that in the budget. I'm going to talk a little bit in detail about what we're going to try to achieve, what outcomes we're looking for. And the PO request is on the finance agenda. Audio upgrades in the Borough Council chambers with our microphones and recording solution. Just our annual lease payment on the host servers. And then our regular scheduled workstation upgrades. These are some of the highlights of the projects we're working on this year. And that's all I have for my quarterly report. I can go on if you would like me to, but I think I'm done.
You have any questions? I have one about the update to the building and housing, the land development that I know has been in the works. Is there an ETA and when you'll have that up?
I can show it to you if you have time in between meetings, but it is up, and Sally and I have been working on it, and you can see all of the land development projects, almost like a time scale, like January, you'll see them. You can click on it and you can see all the documents pertaining to those. We still have work to do, but the skeleton of it is there. So maybe between meetings, we can take a look at it if you're interested. It's there.
Yeah, Mr. Vaccaro brought to my attention a couple months ago, and I haven't put it on the ACT agenda yet, but we had some suggestions for better information about rentals in general, and it probably would go somewhere on the site. So we'll add it to a future agenda item, but I wanted to make sure that I didn't forget about it, and I had some potential adds to it as well.
Sounds good.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to old business. The first item here is to discuss revising the Borough Council Committee meeting dates. This was, I think we talked about it last month, and we had some suggestions and got kicked back to committee. So Brian and I just texted yesterday. We think we have a good resolution, to just flip the finance committee into smart growth. Since typically finance does not take quite as long, we find ourselves often waiting for the smart growth meeting to finish.
So everything stays.
Everything would be staying the same except for the two meetings there would just switch time slots. And so that would be, I believe, the committee's recommendation. Is that a 3-0 or?
That's 3-0. Yeah, I have
Like
no,
to-
I have no real insight to Wednesdays, but
Okay.
go.
Okay, yes.
I'd like to add one more thing to the committee's plate. And thank you, Ms. DiDomenico, for looking ahead. We didn't know when the primary was going to take place until the last time we looked at this. So the primary is going to take place May 2025 on the 20th, which is our work session night. So I think you should have a conversation about moving that. My suggestion might be to move the work session and voting session both back a day, because I imagine with the primary in Westchester, people are probably very busy on Monday and Tuesdays, and it might make sense to have a Wednesday, Thursday meeting that week. That would be my suggestion, but we didn't know about that conflict until recently. So I want to, maybe we can get it all fixed all in one go.
Makes sense.
Agree.
Yes, agreed.
Okay, so that was item A with an addition, and then we have item B, discuss amendments to rules and procedures of Borough Council. This is a document that we have been discussing for a couple cycles now. We had some suggestions and some comments from our mayor in the last committee meeting. And there was one item in particular around adding additional time for discussing larger, non-routine, non-administrative items, big ticket items, ones that we actually need to have some thoughtful discussion around, adding that to 2 agendas before taking it to basically a decision, a vote or a resolution. And I believe where we landed with most of us was we did not need that additional time. And, it's up for discussion again. So does anybody have any strong opinions on this committee?
I mean, I believe that any type of issue should clear the committee first, voted on, and then brought forth through the work session.
And that is the current process. So adding it for
Correct.
two agendas before taking it to
There is-
council work session.
There is something in what Mr. McGinnis said that's worth fleshing out a little bit more, because the word you used was vote. The committee takes a vote, so to speak, to make a recommendation to council, but you're not allowed to vote on something that hasn't been on a published agenda, especially if it has to do with a financial matter. So when that does occasionally come up, we are sending things to work session with a vote and a recommendation. So maybe in that, what you just said, Brian, is what you might want to get at. At least that would give you, that would make sure the thing would have to be on the published agenda, at least, to be able to take a vote amongst the 3 of you to make a recommendation instead of something popping up at the meeting.
Correct. I'm in agreement with that.
So one of the things that it would have to end up being is that would have to be a published, not just a published agenda, but it would have to be published as a motion. Okay. So I think we're okay. The purpose of this was to not have to make any hasty decisions without having adequate discussion and all the information. So I feel like this one kind of resolved. I think some of the new agenda formatting may have also helped just in terms of how we categorize items. So I think we can take this. We don't need any action on it, I believe, because this is just a section of the rules and procedures, and these are ours, which we can change. We just have to align with the General Assembly, and that is most of what is up here in terms of changes. is to just make sure that we are not just aligning with the General Assembly, but we're also using Robert's rules in an appropriate way. So do you guys have any additional changes? The one piece that, I just want to bring this up because the mayor brought it up last time, was how it was the last section, which was slated to be deleted. And this was around filling vacancies too.
This version has that language struck, which it shouldn't. This is totally my bad. I don't know what possessed me when I first looked at this to strike all this language, because when I went back and read the words, I was like, why did I do that? It makes no sense. Because this is all about process of advertising. It's not covered in the code elsewhere. So I don't know what I was thinking. So that's my bad. So that language shouldn't be struck there on filling vacancies.
So if we make if we add this back in, so if we unstrike it and we make that one change that we just discussed around having adequate time prior to a vote, I feel like if we can work together and make sensible decisions, I don't think we need to add that into our process or document it. If we make those two changes, then I think this document is good to be published or used at this point. And unless there are any additional suggestions, changes, adds, deletes. Okay. So I think we're ready to take this to vote. Okay, great. So 3-0 on that. The last old business item, which I'm going to suggest that maybe when we approve meeting minutes, we put this as the first agenda item on our agendas, just to knock it out and get it out of the way, is to approve last month's meeting minutes, which I reviewed, didn't have any suggestions, edits, changes, deletes. Okay.
I did not either.
So those are approved 3-0. Okay, that satisfies all the old business items. New business. First item on the agenda is the item that Bill brought up earlier around the meeting management premium add-on purchase. Do you want to chat about that real quick?
Yes, and I made a wonderful PowerPoint. Okay. So yes, I was very excited to actually be able to achieve this in our 2025 budget. I'm excited about it. I've been here a very long time, and I think we need to perhaps modernize some of the things we do in the agendas, meetings. We've been talking about this for a while as a group. So I just want to talk about some highlights, so what we can expect to achieve from some of this. So of course, this is an add-on package to our Civic Plus website. So some of the things we're looking to achieve is the agenda meeting management software, which will be an online cloud-based service through the website, brings our organization the opportunity to enhance how we manage our meetings, agendas, and minutes. This solution streamlines our agenda and meeting processes, from creating agenda items to completing post-meeting tasks, all in one easy-to-use platform. We will be able to improve collaboration using customized workflows, version tracking, built-in communication tools, maximizing our efficiency. I have a little asterisk here because they promised they can do this at no cost, and that is actually integrating our YouTube videos into our meeting minutes. So when someone is looking at the minutes, they will also have in the upper right-hand corner the ability to play the meeting through the minutes. That would be wonderful for someone who's doing research, trying to figure something out. Collaboration and distribution. These are some, so what they say is flexible, customized templates. What I'm saying, what this means is we can create our own agenda templates that won't be changed easily. They're not done in Microsoft Word. Convenient anytime agenda modifications. When agendas are being made, the staff can drop and drag what goes where very easily. The numbers are all self-created through the process. Efficiently manage agenda packets of any size. Bookmarks to documents. Item first agenda creation. That means there's no more agendas, no more attachments folder. You don't have to go anywhere else for your attachments. You just, through the agenda, you click on the agenda item, All the attachments are there. You don't have to go anywhere else, not a separate folder. Workflow for approval process and notifications. So staff is doing the agendas. They're going through to the council committee chairs. This will all be done through this process. You will be logging in and you'll be approving it, making notes, so forth. Previous agendas, because this is Civic Plus and we've been using them since 2017, they're going to work with us to migrate even our old agendas and old minutes into this process. Elected officials, this is you guys. Improved involvement. So flexible access. Elected officials can choose how to access meeting content, personal meeting repository. You guys you have a secure location that's yours to take notes. So you'd be logging into this, prepping for reading all the documents, making your notes on your agenda. You can share the notes with the other council members. You can share them with staff. You can be filling that out while you're in the meeting. You're using this. Find out what you need faster. Everything is indexed. Means making research and finding content will be very easy to do. Ad hoc reporting. Because the data is indexed, researching and creating reports will be easy. You can actually create reports through this process, through this program. Meeting transparency. This is for the public. So agenda and meeting content will be easier for our community to find. And they can create their own reports if they're trying to research a problem or something they just want to learn more about. And of course, build in public access with research tools. So the public they have a login portal for themselves. They have research tools. They can take notes on their own. They can save content. It's all there for them. I had to put my picture there. I was so excited. So there's a lot here, and I actually have a lot to learn about this, but I'm very excited about it. I think this will be a lot. It will be a lot of work, but it's going to introducing a new service that are meeting planning process agendas, meeting minutes, researching ability will all be much better than it is today. It will be exciting, hopefully, for the public who wants to engage. I think it'll be awesome. It's going to be about a 6-month project. We're going to take our time with it because it is going to involve council members. Because my vision is you would be on your laptop or on your iPad logged into the meeting portal, and you're taking notes there, and you can share them with your fellow members on the council or staff, and it becomes part of what you do. And then you can archive publicly what you want to and what you don't want to, and it's going to make it a lot easier to find documents. No more separate folders for attachments. It's all there. So there you go. Just get a little preview there, and the purchase order is on the finance agenda. And then I hope to begin the project end of January, early February, and then keep you guys updated with demos and things as we go through the process of building it. The end.
that sounds very exciting. Thank you.
Do you have any questions, Brian?
No.
I have a couple questions. Will this be extended to boards and commissions for use?
Yes. That may be a little more complex because we're dealing with 7 elected officials who are very fully engaged on a regular basis. You have boards and commissions, they're not as actively engaged. It's going to be more work. So we're going to focus on council, but yes. And maybe you start with 2 or 3 boards and commissions who are really active, build it with them. You learn from successes and failures as you go to the other boards and commissions. So this is something we're going to have to talk about as we build the project out and timelines. But yes, it can be used for them.
The other question I had was sometimes we have challenges when one of us has to dial in remotely. Will this resolve some of those issues?
That's it. That's WebEx. That's separate from this solution. They have a module for that. We don't need that. I think WebEx does a great job with that. What I'm excited about this is we can integrate those videos. Like this meeting would be part of the minutes for here, and the person reading the minutes in addition can listen or watch. So that's WebEx. That's a separate process.
Will meetings be transcribed automatically by this?
We're talking about AI, aren't we? WebEx actually does a really good job transcribing these meetings. I send them to Dana, but it's not perfect. So the transcription will not be here. This is not a recording system.
Okay.
They do have an add-on for that, but I didn't add that. You go from like 12,000 to like 30,000 when you start adding those things. But maybe in a year and a half, you guys might want that because you're so happy with it.
And then we'll have some sort of training at some point when this gets rolled out in 6 months or so.
Intensive training, prepare yourself. Yes.
Okay.
Just not be trained. 'Cause I really see that the day when you guys are all you're logged into it and you're kind of making your notes there and so forth. Things. And then when you meeting when Dana's doing her minutes, so for ACT, part of the built-in module for ACT would be the three of you. And as you vote on things, she could just check yes, yes, no, and it all becomes part of it. And it's all through this one program.
Any questions from Daryl?
Daryl Cook, South Walnut Street. Will the public have access to council's discussions?
Their notes or their discussions logged in on their system, but they can make whatever public they want on there. But that's their notes. Like, so when Brian Travis logs in, he's logged in on his login. He's making notes for himself, not for the public. They're his notes. Just as instead of writing them down, you put them there, but they're not for the public.
I was concerned about sunshine. Thank you.
And that includes you.
Okay, thank you. Next item B, motion to appoint membership terms to the TAC members, the Transportation Advisory Committee. And then there is an attachment. Actually, we had discussed members last month. I was absent in the work session and the voting session. So where are the members of the?
I could read them.
Can you? Okay.
Ray Ott, John O'Brien, Patricia Shields, Laura McLean, and Jim Wiley.
Okay. Any objections?
No.
3-0.
We just have to determine who's going to do 2 years and who's going to do 3 years.
Yes. Do we need to do that now?
Have to do that now.
Okay, because I think I would like to ask these committee members what their preference would be. And then eventually, because we'll have staggering 2 and 3, eventually they'll normalize to 2. Is that correct? Okay,
2 1 year who will go off, and 3 1 year who will go off.
gotcha. Okay, great. Next item, discuss interview process for boards, borough boards, committees, and commissions. Is this one of your agenda items? Where did this one come from in terms of the interview process?
Oh, go ahead.
No, you go.
So instead of the entire council interviewing candidates for positions, that would be done beforehand and recommendations. Is that correct, Dana?
So what will happen, I will do the recruitment, I'll send out the notices, I'll make sure it's advertised in the paper, I'll collect the resumes, and then I will send it to the board, like, let's say recreation, 4 people apply to fill a vacancy or 2 vacancies on recreation. They will take a look at the resumes and they will determine who they want to interview. They will interview them and then they will make a recommendation to Borough Council. So you still will appoint the members, but they'll take a look at the members and they'll do maybe some, take a look at their experience and see if they fit in. They'll probably know better who they really want to be on their committee, who's going to add the value, who has the experience, and it will save you guys a lot of time as well.
So what's changing then? We ourselves won't have to be doing the interviews.
Correct.
The committees, the boards and commissions will be doing their own.
They will make
interviews.
a recommendation because the ordinance states the council has to make the appointments.
Yeah, I feel like some of that is already taking place, so we're just making it more formal. Is that the case?
So this is how the bid board works, and I have no idea why only the bid board works that way, or maybe something else does, but it doesn't.
It's
seem-
just the bid, it's in their guidelines.
So the bid works that way, and it works nicely. John O'Brien comes, says the recommendation that was already voted on by the members of the bid. And, it's not like a secret thing that John O'Brien made the decision about. It's, we interview him, we looked at the resume, then we interview the people as him or her, and we decide on who John is going to bring here. John brings it, we approve it, and we go. It's a smooth process that works with that committee, I think it makes a lot of sense.
I don't have any objections to this. Any other comments?
No.
Yeah, 3-0. The last item here under new business is the appointment of our engineers, planning consultants, independent auditor and solicitor, our legal counsel. And I believe that, well, I'll just put it out here. Are there any objections to the recommendation to reappoint?
No.
I don't have any either. Okay. So given that that is, well, there's actually not a other business item on here. Is there any other business? I've noticed it's not on the agenda, but I'll bring it up.
No.
Okay, great. Then we are adjourned at 6:06.